And hey, Hard Rock, yep, FT3DR. Like I said, man, even if you just get some coax and run it outside and just lay a nice long piece of wire on the ground and hook it up to that coax, you'll be able to receive everything with that radio if you want to start using it. Obviously don't transmit until you get your license, but you can definitely. A receive antenna is very easy. You just lay it on the ground, and you'll pick stuff up. But when it becomes time to transmit, you can't do that anymore. You're gonna have to make it resonant, and you're gonna have to get it up in the air a bit. But yeah, get that radio plugged in. Make yourself some kind of receive antenna. I mean, heck, chuck it out the window. Do what you gotta do. If you're listening on these frequencies where I was talking tonight, it needs to be pretty long. But I mean, even if you just have like a CB antenna or something, plug that into it. Do not transmit, but you can use that to listen. Pretty much anything will work. So you can get the radio plugged in, get used to using it, and I know you'll have fun. So good luck testing. Like I said, QRZ.com has those practice exams. Keep taking those. And I would recommend testing for general class as long as you're there, because you're going to pay your $5 or your $10 or whatever to take the test, and they'll let you take whatever you want. You'll take the tech. When you're done with that, I would recommend taking the general, even if you don't think you're going to pass. Just try it, man. You never know. You could get lucky, or you could study and get both. But in order to talk down here where we're talking, you're going to need a general class license. But any license you get is a good start, man. Oh, ham study on your iPhone. Yeah, that works too, man. That's a good one. So, yeah, Hard Rock, best of luck, man. I hope I see you tomorrow on the stream. And like I said, if you got any questions, any of you guys, you have any questions, you're interested in getting licensed, want to know more about what's going on here, speak up. Come and chat. I'll talk to you, man. And if I'm not on and you've got a question, you can all find my email address on QRZ.com. If you look up my call sign, W2BTK, it's right there at the top. So any questions, anything you want, shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to help anybody with any of this radio stuff. So yeah, ham study is good. Oh yeah, Giant just got his general, man. He's in an HOA, so it's a little hard to put up antennas, but he heard Tommy on last night, who's got a, nah, man, it's fine. I love hanging out and talking to you guys. So it's just, that listening to the radio in the background and all that stuff was kind of not helping my headache at all. So this is nice and quiet. I mean, to sit here and chat to you guys as long as you want to chat. So how does it work? You take the tech, then the general. Yeah, you can take them both on the same day. So when you call that guy Howard. He's going to tell you when to show up, where to show up, all that stuff, what you need to bring. And you're going to show up. You're going to take the technician class test first. Before you get your results or whatever, as soon as you're done with that, say, hey, I want to try the general also. And then you'll take the general test, and when you're done with all and heck, you can even take the extra test if you want. But whenever you're done taking all the tests you want to take, they're going to score them and tell you, like, hey, you passed the tech, but you didn't get the general, or sometimes you pass both, So definitely take as many tests as you're comfortable with that day. That would be a little weird, and I honestly don't know what would happen if you failed the tech and passed the general. I mean, you'd probably get your general class license, but that's not very common. I mean, the tests get harder and harder as you go on. The tech is, it's not like easy, but it's a lot easier than the general. General gets into some more technical stuff, the regulatory stuff. There's more questions about that. And then the extra is super hard. I haven't even passed the extra yet, and that's twice as many questions also. But I'm studying for that one, so I'll let you guys know when I pass that. But yeah, if you fail the tech and pass the general, I will honestly be impressed, because that's hard to do. And real quick, what can you do with each license as far as talk? Okay, so the technician class license, you're going to get privileges on VHF, UHF, which is, like VHF is like 50 megahertz and up to about, 400 megahertz. UHF is like 400 and up. And what happens up there on those frequencies is a lot of repeaters and things like that, FM repeaters. So they're pretty fun. I kind of don't really hang out on a lot of repeaters. They're a little dry for me, most of the conversations. And when you get your general class, you can use the HF band, the high frequency band, which is about from 1 megahertz up to 30 megahertz. And that's where all the really fun stuff happens. And those frequencies will support worldwide propagation. So like, for instance, on 20 meters, which is 14 megahertz, you can get on and talk to people in other countries like all day. 40 meters, which is 7 megahertz, you can get on during the day or also at night, usually talk all over the world, right? You can do like FT8, stuff like that, digital modes, but with just the tech ticket, you're not allowed to use any of those bands that have the crazy propagation, and you're mostly stuck up. You have some privileges on 10 meters, but that's not like an everyday talk all over the world kind of band. But when it is open, you will be talking all over the world on 10 meters. It's just, you gotta wait. No, not through the web, through your Yaesu, man. You fire up that Yaesu, put up an antenna, and you'll be talking to guys all over the world with the general class ticket. The VHF, UHF frequencies that most of your privileges are on as a tech don't really support like worldwide, point-to-point propagation. The waves are just much shorter. They don't travel quite as far. It's more of a line of sight thing, which is why they use repeaters. So the real fun starts when you get your general class ticket. But having your tech is a great way to get your foot in the door, do some ham radio, get used to, Q codes, talking to people, giving your call sign, this and that. I mean, I was a tech for 10 years before I upgraded to general. But I mean, it's you can probably, if you give that guy Howard a call, find the V session and this and that, when you go test, ask him a bunch of questions. If like I can explain it to you, maybe not the best, but let's see. So like I would be able to talk to you from Florida here. Oh, absolutely. The band that we're talking on right now, 80 meters, that's 3885. I've talked to guys in Florida before. I mean, it's a little bit of a haul when conditions aren't that great, but a band like 40 meters, 7 megahertz, absolutely. You could probably talk to me every single night on that band. But as far as just having your technician class ticket, the only way you're going to be able to talk up here to New Jersey on VHF, UHF, if you find a repeater that links through the internet to key up a repeater over here, and then we could talk. But that relies on the internet, repeater machines and all that being up. So, most of the guys like Timmy, who you heard on there, he's up in Maine. I was talking to him. That guy Bob that was talking, he's in New Hampshire. I was talking to him, no problem. Huge signal here. And then that's 80 meters, and that's usually good every night. I talk all up and down the East Coast, but 40 meters and 20 meters, that's like worldwide every day. I've talked to guys in Japan, Australia, like all over the place, man, on 40 and 20. So that's why I say try to pass that general test, man. It's definitely worth it. Do a little extra studying and take them both while you're down there at the VE session. Oh, man. Is it anything else you need help with, man? Any more questions? Because, like, dude, I'll hang out and answer your questions as long as you want to ask them. Here, let me I'm going to throw the ARRL band plan up here. so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. As far as like the different frequencies and the privileges that you need to talk on them and this and that. Um, let's see, Chrome browser. There we go. So, oops. Why do I have that locked? Okay, so here's the band plan. So with your technician class license, it'll show you here, next to each band, you'll see EAGT. That's extra, advanced, general class, and technician class. Advanced class doesn't exist anymore, but some people are like grandfathered into it, so you'll see that. But anywhere where you see a T, you can use that band. So you get these really high frequencies, 70 centimeters. Some people call that 440. That's UHF. There's the 220 band. You can talk there, but there's not a lot of activity. 2 meters. This is where most of the repeaters are, where a lot of the action you're going to get as a tech is. And then you can always jump on 6 meters, which at times, you can make nationwide or worldwide contacts on 6 meters, but it's very sporadic. It's kind of a crapshoot. And then if you see this little yellow portion of 10 meters, you're allowed to use that with single sideband. So you can do that, but again, that band is not always open. Results will vary, but when it is open, I mean, you'll be talking to Japan and stuff like that. But so you get into this column here. This is like general class. You got your G, 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 G. You can talk on all these bands with a general class ticket, and as you can see, some of them say T here, but it's Morse code only. So that's like what this is. So you could get on some of these bands here, like here, novice and technician. You have privileges on 80 meters, but Morse code only. So you'd have to learn Morse code to do that as a technician. Now, the G column here, general class. This is phone. This is sideband, AM, all the phone modes. So where I was hanging out is 80 meters right here, if you see, and that's the guys I was talking to up and down the East Coast tonight in this portion from 3,800 up to 4 megahertz is where I'm allowed to talk. And if I were to get my extra, I would have extended privileges down, through this portion. But there's a lot of good stuff that happens here. And like I said before, oh, okay. Yeah, no problem, man, if you're going to jump out. But I'll just finish explaining this anyway in case anybody watching is interested in this. 20 meters, this is a worldwide band, pretty much every day. You can get on in the daytime and talk all over the world. 40 meters, same thing. Usually in the daytime, you can make worldwide contacts. At night, it really starts to come alive, and you will definitely make worldwide contacts. But like I said, that's only if you're a general, unless you know Morse code and you want to do Morse code down there as a technician. So 160 is a fun band too, but now you're starting to get into very low. Oh, you couldn't see my mouse before. 160, you're starting to get into very low frequencies here. 1.8 megahertz. These antennas are going to be, 200 foot long, somewhere in there. 80 meters where I was talking, my antenna is 130 feet long for this band. But, again, I messed up with my mouse again. 80 meters. Again, if you want to get on 20 meters, like I said, that's worldwide. These antennas are starting to be reasonable. A resonant antenna on 20 meters is going to be, about like a dipole will be about 30, 40 feet long, which is pretty doable. And then the higher you go, the less likely it is that every day you'll be able to make like worldwide contacts, but that's not to say you can't. When these bands are open, they're open, man. You're working everything. So 40 meters here. What about lightning with the antennas? Well, it's definitely something that happens not too often. I mean, I've never had a direct hit. There's really nothing you can do about a direct hit. It's going to screw stuff up. But as far as having antennas in the air, if you can have a way to dissipate static buildup by basically just making sharp points on the antenna. That will dissipate static and make it much less likely that it's going to receive a lightning strike. Also, proper grounding, things like that, it help a lot to, if there are nearby lightning strikes, it won't affect you as much. It'll drain that stuff off. And I've had antennas in the air for years and years and years. Knock on wood, I've never had a problem. So I wouldn't be super concerned about that, but there definitely are things that you can do to mitigate that stuff. There's lightning arresters that you can put in line with your coax. You can look those up. Just Google lightning arrestor. That can help if you do get a direct hit. But as far as like what we're doing, you know, antennas up 40, 50 feet in the air in trees and stuff, I don't feel like you really need to worry so much. But I just go over this again because now you can see my mouse. So this is the little portion of 10 where you can use as a tech, and you're good on all this as a tech. So you have a lot of fun with the technician class, but like I said, if you want to talk all over the world and talk to people around the country and stuff, it is a lot easier once you have access to these frequencies. So y'all can download this. It's just I just searched Google for ARRL band plan, and this is it right here. You know, and it's got some information on the side here. It tells you what all this is. All the red is digital modes. The green is phone stuff. And well, there you go. That's the best I could do to explain that. And lightning anything, but anything else? Anybody else like watching want to know about this stuff? I mean, feel free to ask. I'm here. I'm chatting with y'all. Hey, one big noob, man. Thanks for the follow. I didn't even see that. Welcome to the channel. You know, I'll definitely hang out for a couple minutes if you guys have questions about what's going on. So most guys doing ham don't have quite as an elaborate setup. I do all AM. You can see my audio processing rack in the background. The room behind me has a bunch of transmitters in it, and this is more set up like a professional radio station than it is an amateur station. But you basically like get a radio like Hard Rock did, a Yaesu or whatever, just throw an antenna out there, some kind of dipole, and you don't have to use a tuner or anything if you make it resonant. And dude, you can talk all over the world with general class privileges, and then you get your extra, you get a little bit more on each band. So doesn't look like too many more questions coming in, and I'll still hang out for one sec just in case. Yaesu has GPRS. GPRS, I've heard of APRS. That's like the positioning stuff. It transmits a signal every so often, which is cool. If you're going to use it in your car, you can kind of see where you are. People can look it up. Maybe, do you mean GMRS? Because that's you can use those frequencies without a license. GMRS and FRS frequencies. I've got my tech about 2 years ago, but no hardware yet. I'm a former electronic technician. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, you'll fit right in. Most of the guys who I hang out with down here on like 80 meters, 160 meters, a lot of them are like electronics techs and know a lot about this stuff. And we all kind of like homebrew and make our own homemade transmitters and antennas and this and that. So that's like a really fun part of the hobby for me, is just making homemade stuff and putting it on the air. A lot of my stuff is homemade. But, you know, if you're just getting into it, go ahead and buy yourself a rig and just start using it, man. That's the way in, and you'll get the ropes. But yeah, noob, if you've got electronics experience, you'll do great out here. I mean, modifying stuff and building your own stuff. So um, let's see, 1296 APRS data modem. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I've never used that kind of stuff. The only digital modes that I use is like FT8, which is a cool weak signal mode. You can basically interface to your computer. It plays a series of tones over the air, and the receiver on the other end decodes those tones into text, and then you can make contacts back and forth like that. And that's really all I've experienced with. I've never used any of the like modems and stuff in the radios. Like I know my Yaesu radio in the car has all that, but I've honestly never used it. I'm kind of a dinosaur. I talk on AM, and I like run 1950s transmitters and stuff. But there's a lot of cool techie stuff that you can do in the hobby too, and I might not be the best guy to talk to about that, but I do know a little bit about it. About it. I'm more of an AM, broadcast, homebrew, tube transmitter kind of guy. But that's all really cool stuff. I mean, you should get on the there's ham forums and stuff. QRZ forums. There's a lot of cool discussions on there. You don't need an account or anything. You can just read. Guys talk about stuff like that all the time. They're all doing cool stuff with it. Little radio, 1,000 channels and 24 banks. Yeah, I mean, the newer radios, they're awesome. But like I said, I mean, I'm working with. Well, I do have this Kenwood. I have this Kenwood 440 here that I just actually got running today. I was using it a little bit at the beginning of the stream. So that's if I want to use other modes besides AM, sideband, this and that. But my main rig is like literally from the 50s. It's a modified Johnson Viking 2. I homebrewed my own modulator for it and this and that. Homemade modulation transformers and all that to get the really good sounding audio on AM, which is what I like to do. So, like I said, go on like QRZ forums or like, ham forums. There's always people discussing all the newer technology, newer radios, that APRS stuff. And, there's lots of good reading out there. I just don't know as much about it because I don't have a lot of experience with it. But field day's coming up. I don't know if you know about field day. That's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a little screwed up this year with the coronavirus. A lot of clubs and stuff aren't having the gatherings. But all right, Hard Rock, man, you have a good night. I'll catch y'all later. But yeah, I'm going to be doing field day from home this year. So if anyone out there is licensed, you're on the bands, take a listen. I mean, I'll be on all the bands, probably sideband. And that's coming up in a couple weeks. I forget exactly when, but field day is a good exercise. If y'all can find a ham club that's actually doing it, it's like basically an emergency preparedness drill. You'll go out somewhere outside, set up a generator or a bank of batteries or solar. You'll put your antenna up and just get on the air and make as many contacts as you can. Emergency preparedness, because you never know. You might not be able to use your cell phone, no internet, this or that. Something could happen, and they want guys that can go out and establish communications, without commercial power, stuff like that. So, a few of your clubs are doing it together. That's good to hear, man, because the clubs up here by me, they're not doing field day at all this year. It's basically like, yeah, if you want to do it, just do it from your house by yourself, which sucks because I really look forward to field day every year. Made a crap ton of contacts last year, man. On 20 meters, we had a 3-element Yagi on a 50-foot tower, and I was just running pile-ups of people, man. It just so much fun. But yep. All right, guys. I don't see too many more questions going on here. So I guess I'm going to go nurse my headache, chill out for a little while, and like I said, I'll come back tomorrow. We'll do a little bit more of an exciting stream and try to squeeze some more excitement out of the band here. So thanks all you guys for hanging out with me. Again, anybody with questions, look me up on QRZ. My call sign's W2BTK, and you can find my email there. Shoot me an email. I'm good. It might take me a day to respond or whatever, but I'm here to help. Anybody interested in this stuff, like, let's go. Let's do it. So with that said, I'm going to shut the stream and go chill out for a little bit. So pleasure, everybody. And I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace out.